Argonne National Laboratories yesterday became the second national lab in the country to announce it will have its own in-house King Incubator. An incubator, for this sense at Argonne, doesn't have to do with science but business. It's an opportunity for science and tech entrepreneurs to get a kickstart for their business from the national lab. The Department of Energy and Argonne are putting $4 million behind the first cohort of teams. Joining us now from Argonne National Labs in Lamont, just south of Chicago, is Andreas Roelofs, director of the newly created Chain Reaction Innovation. Andreas, welcome to the 21st.
Thank you very much for having me.
Now, you all are billing this as a way to bridge the valley of death, you all called it, between the science workbench and the marketplace. How big is that problem?
That problem gets bigger and bigger depending on what technology you work on. If you want to write a software or you want to write an app for a phone, you probably need the basement of your parents, a couple boxes of pizza, and you're good to start your company. But if you want to work on science-based startups, if you want to really create hardware, a new sensor, or you want to work on a new solar cell or battery, you need a lot of expensive equipment and a big team of diverse scientists. And that's really, there is not many places in the world where you could do that easily.
So what kind of support is Argonne hoping to offer this first cohort of teams then?
So there's a few things. So on one hand, the Chain Reaction program is a 2-year program. So we are looking for innovators that are very fresh innovators that have raised less than $1 million. So if it's a company that has already raised a lot of money, then that's not the program for them. But if there is a new company or an innovator that wants to come into this program, we're going to offer them access to Argonne National Lab, which is a big place, with over 3,300 people here. And we give them a fellowship that comes through the Department of Energy that basically funds their salaries, healthcare benefits, and they get a couple of research dollars to spend at the lab for their ideas.
And so what kind of entrepreneurs are you looking to partner with for this?
We're looking at the people that have the science-based ideas, as I mentioned, these things that need a long time to prove out, that need expensive equipment. So if you think of, let's take a computer chip or your cell phone, anything in there uses a clean room, and that's not easy. Even if you get the money from somebody to say, that's a great idea, I want to fund that, you still need to build up the capabilities, hire a diverse team of people, and get the tools up and running. And there's a lot of equipment at Argonne that people could use.
And when you say clean room, what do you mean by that?
Oh, sorry. Clean room is actually a room, and the name describes it very well. That's a room that is very, very clean. There's no dust particles in it, because when you want to make a tiny microchip, the dust particle to these structures is the size of a rock, basically. And so you have to be in a very, very clean environment, and it's very expensive to build these kinds of laboratories. And so we have laboratories like this on site, or chemical labs. We have a big X-ray machine that you could look inside an operating system, for example.
And do you think that's why there is this so-called valley of death between scientists who have ideas like this and then taking them and making them into successful companies? Is a lot of it maybe not capital, because we hear a lot about access to capital, but for startups. But do you think for scientists there are special challenges that have to do with the technology they need to create their products?
There might be multiple reasons for why there is this gap, but a scientist has the idea of trying to find new things. There's not the idea, if you do basic science, it's not directed at I want to build something. This is more I want to understand something. I want to get deeper into understanding nature. But the people that actually want to build something, there were labs like Bell Labs. If you go several years back, there were these big laboratories that did hardware development. And I came over to the U.S. Several years back, and I worked for a company in a research lab, and that got closed. So many of these large corporations are closing their research labs. And so David Danielson, who is the assistant secretary at the Department of Energy for what is called energy efficiency and renewable energy, so he called it the lost generation. So we are now in the place where we are closing more and more of these labs in industry, and these innovators that want to do science-based startups have not really a place to go. That is really a problem that is increasing.
And that's because you're saying private companies, there's a lot of research and development costs into developing these things. And is that something you see more and more shifting to government investment in research and development for technology, and then by extension, national laboratories like Argonne?
That's what we see, and I think that's why we created these centers. And the problem is that everything in a company is geared towards making money, and you have to basically, even in the development, if you come up with a new product idea, in 3 years it has to hit the market. But if you want to have a new technology that has big societal impact, so it's very risky to try those out. And
Andreas? Looks like we're having a hard time getting a hold of Andreas. Let's try to get him back in just a second here. Sorry about that. You're listening to the 21st. And Andreas, you back?
Yes.
Hi there. Sorry about that. Okay.
Maybe there's a company that could develop better cell phone technology.
Better cell phone technology. Okay, there's an idea for an entrepreneur for Argonne. But you were saying before we lost you there just about the time it takes to get a product to, and you're saying a lot of times there's kind of a profit margin, or they're thinking, well, we've got to get this ready within 3 years. What I wanted to ask you about was how you are going to, I think this is a traditional problem with incubators and startups. How are you going to measure success of applicants in the program? How are you going to, it's a 2-year program. What's your goal for an entrepreneur comes in with an idea? At the end of 2 years, what do you want them to have to show for that?
Yeah, I think the whole trick is, part of these 2 years is definitely the technical development of that idea to a point where you have proof of concept that an investor from the outside that really looks at, is that a profitable product in any time frame that they are willing to invest in, so that product is at that stage. But during that time, they also should go and get the pitch ready, pitch to investors, and try to raise more money. So these 2 years is learning also entrepreneurship. And entrepreneurship is what is the value of the product, who's your customer, and how much is it going to cost to produce that product. So there will be multiple things. One is developing the technology. Another one is raising the money, and raising the money is also the business piece. And that's what we hope to teach them in 2 years and work with them together on developing the technology.
So someone who's listening now and thinks, maybe I want to be involved in this, who are you looking for? What do applicants need to demonstrate about their idea for them to be accepted into this first cohort?
Yeah. So first of all, I'm really happy that I'm on the call, because I want to shout out to all the people that are in science and have a science background, and the students and postdocs. I think that's where most of the people will come from. And it's going to be a relatively easy proposal that is something like 5 pages, where we want to know, where do they come from, what was the education, what is the idea, why do they think Argonne could help. Because most valuable will be people that actually work in an area where we have good expertise. Because then it's not only the tools, but we have also scientists they can collaborate with. And that gives the likelihood of success a big boost, I think.
Andreas, how do people apply?
It's on our website, Chain Reaction Innovations at Argonne National Lab. If people look for that, they find a website, and there's a button that says more information for entrepreneurs. In about 2 weeks, we're going to go live with the full solicitation, and then we start the process of looking into the proposals.
That's Andreas Roelofs, director of the newly announced, as of yesterday, Chain Reaction Innovations, Argonne National Laboratory's first ever tech and science business incubator. We'll tweet out all that information as well. So if you follow the 21st, or if you head to our website at 21stshow.org, we'll have all of those links. Andreas, thanks so much for taking the time to chat with us.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
That does it for our show today. A comment that we got from a listener about our earlier conversation about dentists. Steph says, thanks to 21st for covering this subject. I wanted to add an anecdote regarding the use of an HSA. Steph planned to pay with an HSA debit card at the dental office, had lots of problems, It took 6 months before the budget impasse just for them to get the bill, he says, and then that led to multiple notices from our HSA and the threat of freezing our HSA account. Lots of calls. Steph says this problem seems specific to the state of Illinois' HSA plan and says, I wonder now if pre-tax money is of less value than having the income taxed and conservatively invested. It certainly seems like the money would be easier to access. We'll have the whole conversation from today about HSAs, FSAs, and all of that up on our website. If you head to 21stshow.org, it'll be up there in a couple of hours, and you can listen to the whole conversation. As always, we welcome feedback. You can do it on our Facebook page like Steph did. All of the information for our Facebook, Twitter, phone number is at 21stshow.org. I'm Nyla Boodoo. Thanks for listening to The 21st.